At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a married couple. Scott and Mara are raising two children. The man agrees to comfort their little daughter, and through the window, a strange, hooded figure watches the family idol. Mara notices her, but isn't sure if someone was actually watching them. The watcher quickly hides from his post. The morning in Mara's household does not start off pleasantly. The spouse is overslept, and to top it off, the breakfast milk has run out. In addition, Rachel's nanny, who is supposed to watch the kids, is a little late for work. Scott promises his daughter that he will be sure to clean the pool so they can swim in it. Mara takes Beth to daycare and asks her husband to watch the baby until the nanny arrives. The woman is in a big hurry, as she is late for an important meeting. Overall, the life of this family is one of constant stress, tardiness, and failure to fulfill household responsibilities. Putting Beth in her mother's car is helped by Rachel, a new nanny called in to partially take over childcare duties. At work, Mara encounters Eric Messer, who reminds her that in Los Angeles, being even 10 minutes late can have fatal consequences. A woman is interviewed for a job in the marketing department of a prestigious firm. Mara manages to get a job at Inhabit magazine, which makes her very happy. The woman celebrates her new position together with Eric. The guy suggests going out to dinner, and Mara agrees and arranges for the next evening. Back at home, the woman sees an untidy trash can. Scott swears he pulled it out, but the services somehow missed it and forgot to pick it up. Mara decides to talk to her husband. The pile of unfinished business, the constant turmoil and stress, the new responsibilities because of the baby girl's birth, it can all be maddening, and there's no way to live like this for long. Scott reminds her that these chores started after Bet was adopted, but they're worth suffering a little. Mara criticizes her spouse for not doing anything around the house without her reminders. The couple reconciles, and the woman decides to check on her daughter. Suddenly, Mara realizes that they are not alone in the house. Scott tries to disarm the criminal, but the burglar manages to escape. The couple call the cops and learn about new security systems that can protect their home. Mara thinks it's a great idea, but her husband argues, as he is sure that they will be slipped obscure gadgets for a lot of money. To make a decision, the couple turn to Rachel. The girl agrees with Mara and advises the couple not to neglect the safety of the family. In addition, her mother Sarah's house has an excellent security system, the name of which she will specify and send them to the post office. At work, Mara reads about the security system presented. Eric assures that it is very reliable because locks, lights, and alarms, all controlled remotely, and in case of danger can keep from breaking in. Mara eventually makes a decision and asks her husband to come home in an hour. Scott arrives with flowers and is perplexed. It turns out that Mara, without her husband's consent, has invited a home security system installation service into the house. An employee named Dan assesses the premises and says that a complete package with cameras and full automation would be perfect for them. Scott agrees, though, unable to resist his wife's requests. In addition to the security cameras and microphones, all the appliances in the house are now also controlled by remote control. The system has a central hub, called Sam, that can be connected to via phone. Mara is excited about all the new things in their home. Sam sets reminders for all household chores, which makes it even less time-consuming. With the help of the system, Mara even orders milk for the morning. At this time, Rachel is watching the cameras from her room. The morning of the family this time begins without unnecessary nerves and quarrels. Sam sets up absolutely all the processes, and the family feels serene. Mara is going to drive and then pick up Beth, as she has a lot of free time. When Rachel comes to work, the spouses offer her to take a paid day off because Scott, freed from extra work, can stay with his youngest daughter. Returning home, the girl has a big fight with her mother, and through the cameras follows a satisfied Mara, who is going to drive Beth to daycare. Back home in the evening, the woman enjoys dinner and Scott's company. In bed that evening, Mara suggests using the babysitter less often. Rachel is shocked to hear this. The girl gets very angry and switches the screen from the cameras to a photo of Beth. At night, Mara wakes up from the noise and does not find her daughter in bed. It turns out that Beth is sitting in the living room and chatting with Sam. The woman asks her to go to bed soon and not to run out of the room during the night. The next morning at Mara's is even more productive. The woman manages to make breakfast, run the laundry, and even go out for a run. Mara meets Rachel's mother and learns that she has no security system in her home. At home, the girl snaps at Sarah and hopes that she hasn't blabbed anything. Mara tells her husband about the nanny's strangeness, and the man promises to talk to her. Scott talks to the girl and tries to find out why the nanny lied to them and what problems she has with her father. Rachel cries and tells him that her father was a despot, and after he passed away, her mother became obsessed and weird. Scott calms the nanny down, but the girl suddenly decides to kiss him. The man instantly jumps up from the couch and asks Rachel to leave immediately. After that, at home, the girl fights with her mother. Sarah is sure that her daughter is obsessed with Scott and therefore follows the family through the cameras. The woman believes that Rachel does not deserve them, but the girl is sure that she will go unpunished. However, Sarah takes the phone away from her daughter and calls Mara. The woman asks her to keep Rachel away from their home. The girl pushes Sarah, and she falls and hits and takes her life. Mara tries to access the cameras but realizes it's locked. The woman calls Scott and asks to meet in a couple hours to talk. After learning about the nanny's behavior, Mara is increasingly inclined to believe that she can't be trusted. The woman decides to go to Rachel's house to get to the bottom of it all. Mara manages to sneak into the house and make sure that the girl really got access to the cameras. Rachel, meanwhile, is digging a hole in the backyard of the house. Mara finds many pictures of Bet on the nanny's computer. A furious Mara starts screaming at the nanny to demand an explanation. Rachel is sure she has the same right to a family because she is raising the woman's children while the mother herself is at work. Mara threatens the girl, promising that if the nanny ever comes near their house again, the police will be involved and she will be arrested. Afterward, Dan helps the couple regain control of the cameras with a new verification system. However, Scott believes that Rachel can hack into the house controls again. That's why the man buys simpler means to protect himself from the intrusion. Before going to bed, Mara is visibly nervous, and her husband tries to calm her down. When the spouses go to bed, Rachel approaches the house. The girl manages to open the door using the system, but Scott's bolts prevent her from entering. Rachel manages to overcome this trap with the help of her wits. The nanny sneaks into the nursery and asks Bet to bring her backpack and some clothes. Mara notices the open door notice and rushes into the nursery. Scott tries to hold Rachel back, but a new problem arises, as it turns out that Dan is the nanny's accomplice. A confrontation ensues between the men. Mara, who has managed to grab Bet, asks her to hide in the children's cave and sit very quietly because they are playing now. The woman tries to keep the baby girl safe as well, but an armed Rachel appears in front of her. Scott manages to briefly defeat his adversary, and he rushes to his wife's aid. Together with Mara, he locks himself in the laundry room, but gets injured because of Rachel. The nanny brings Dan to his senses, and together they try to break down the door. Mara notices a small window and realizes that she must take a chance and try to call the police to save her family. The woman manages to get to the phone, but Dan appears in front of her, having received a message about the door being opened. Mara learns that the man used to date Sarah, but has fallen in love with the young Rachel. The woman still manages to disarm Dan. Mara sees that her youngest daughter is in the hands of the nanny. The woman tries to talk sense into Rachel and understand why she is doing all this madness. Mara learns that in fact the nanny is the biological mother of Bet, who has been looking for her child for 4 long years. But even knowing this, the woman isn't ready to give up her child. Mara lunges at Rachel and takes her life. After a while, the spouses get rid of the home security system. Mara starts working from home to spend more time with her family. A woman cooks breakfast with Bet and enjoys the idol that is now in her family. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.